What's up, everybody? It is JOSHTHEJSYSTEM here. Welcome back to more WWE Supercard in the campaign. Last time out, we had finished number 42. We finished the J Cargill ring. We are halfway through Countdown. Hopefully, we can put Countdown in the books and move our way into main card. Oh, and just like that, I'm already wrong, because that is not going to happen. Okay, we will have to do something else. I'm going to have to do some dusting of some sorts. I hope. I was going to say start praying for me right now, because this may not go well. Oh, this is not good. This is leaving me with less than stellar decisions to make, and I know what I have to do now, and it's not good. I'll stick with holding on to the top 5 cards, as long as you're not a... Alright, we'll leave these ones should be fine to hang on to them. That'll clear up something. That ain't gonna clear up much, though. Alright. Any kind of luck, we get Jeff Hardy, we can clear up, we can clean that out and say, oh yeah, we got both, but no, we did not. I do want to check something really quick before we get too far into it. Looks like I'll have something to do at some point. Anyway, we're going to get right into the campaign. We've cleared up some card rooms. Now we can play. And now we can do that, of course. Send me to the support nightmare. Say what you will about that statement. It's not a lie. Oh, man, we're really off to a rockin' start. I didn't realize I had that much sitting there, so that's interesting. All right, so we get one more exclusive pick, see what that brings us, if it brings us anything at all, frankly. He smokes. Might as well find out if I have any draft picks available while we're at it. Because if not, alright, we do. We might as well just clear it out too. I figure let's not leave it open to any chance of a problem occurring. If while doing this you are constantly seeing the exclamation point on the Rhea's Riptide, there is a specific reason for that. I have yet to get the item in question. Might as well check and see if we're ready for it now. Oh well. You're not going to let me do it, so we are just going to get right into it then. So, I do need the Liv Morgan's claim, which I do not have, which would be, honestly, would be probably clutch for me right now to have that, because it would help. with everything with the Liv Morgan cards, because then I would have, so I would have the Liv Morgan that I currently have in the Leviathan tier. Would have that. The BP Liv Morgan would have the mouthpiece. So I'm trying to think of what I have on her currently. So she would have the mouthpiece, which enhances her ability to, so it gives more points. So in essence, when you see somebody with using the mouthpiece card, you're like, oh, why did they use the mouthpiece in the Battle Pass cards? If you ever wonder why that is, it's because the Battle Pass card applies points to every card in your current deck. So let's say in this, for example, let's say the Liv Morgan card was here. It would technically give her about 90k to give to both cards. So you'd be applying that. Essentially, that's what it does. And then obviously I can't even think of what the item is. Her normal equipment from the BP would go on to the normal Liv Morgan from WrestleMania 42, because it's her. And I was looking at this the other day, and I seen that all like 3 to 4 spots in the left arrow females are all Liv Morgan cards, and I'm just like, as I've said before, this game and I have a weird, like, it is a weird thing. There are times where I get a certain card way too often, and for the past, I'd say the past 3 tiers, releases of tiers, not just 3 tiers in general, because obviously they didn't really get Liv Morgan. I don't think Liv Morgan was even in the, oh no, she was in that previous tier, that's right. But Ember, WrestleMania 42 is what I consider the top tier, so those are where WrestleMania 42 and Rewind being the 2 tiers combined. That's what I refer to when I say that. And now Leviathan, it feels like it's always Liv Morgan. By the end, it's always Liv Morgan, who I have at the end. So I have like this weird relationship right now in the game with the card, Liv Morgan's card, where it's just like, okay, well, even if I take away the Battle Pass, that's still 2 of the 4 cards are Liv Morgan. And it's strange that that's what it picks, but I mean, it is what it is. It is an off. It's a weird situation. But now with Paige and Charlotte's card, with Trish and Lita's card, and among others that are flip cards, it makes it a whole new avenue. It's where you can openly discuss and say, okay, we got all these flip cards now. This should change the outcome of a lot of stuff. Like saying, okay, let's say, for example, I don't have too many down arrows. Now, Lita comes into play. Now she plays her. Now we play the hand of having Lita. Now she's effectively helping. That makes things different. Or we say, okay, this is what you have, this is what you don't have. Now I can obviously go exit out of here with the next tier. If I start having issues and just go, okay, this is what I have, and this is what I need. Okay, I just need to adjust this card because it's a flip card. And it helps, but in the same token, where the flip cards are also a very interesting situation. And what I mean by this is this statement here. Though you have a flip card, it does not automatically mean that that's going to help you in the long run because of one small detail. What are your flip cards' stats? That's what you always want to look at. Because if you have one flip card that only is applying stuff But now the only thing you have is a WrestleMania 42 card that's backing up that flip card. You might not do as well when you reach the top of the food chain in this. So when we extend our arm, we finally made that climb onto that piece of rock that is the main card, if you will. What will you say? What can be said when that final climb is made? When we finally make it there? Because again, here's another example. Even though I have the Immortal card, that means nothing. That's one card. You still got. He can only help in a one set of matches. I still have 2 other matches I've got to make happen. Does it change the outcome? Yes, in the grand scheme when we get further along, because what it does is it tells me, okay, this is the match I could. These are the only matches he's available for. Now you've got to use your brain to figure out the rest. And as such, there's a lot more to do with it than just that. There's a lot of where you have to like open your brain. You have to go. Sorry about that. My yawns just keep coming this moment of speaking. So you have to open up you have to pick at your brain for a moment and say to yourself, okay, I have this covered. I can clearly do this, this, and this to change the outcome here. Now, do you have everything else covered? And that's the key element to the campaign that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Can it be done on day one? I doubt it. I don't believe that for a second. There's a lot more to go into it unless you have unlimited resources to making it happen day one, and your RNG luck is through the roof. If that's the case, sure, I'll believe that. But I would prefer what you guys see is what you get. What you guys are seeing here, you're seeing the full extent of it, where I have been like honestly been kicking my feet in the sand because of it taking forever to get stuff up. So when all this goes down and it's like, oh well, he has all that, he has all this stuff done. What's the big deal there? It's like the big deal with it is just making sure we're at the point. Even if I don't get over this, which highly likely I won't. At the pace we're going at, the only thing threatening to slow me down at this point, and look where we're at, right left there, insane. The only thing threatening to slow me down will now be when we get to the final stack and we pass, what number would it be, like 42 maybe? So I'd say 42, 49 is roughly when we'll start seeing the be-all, end-all fights coming and where we have to be ready for that. Now, and we use an arrow changer on, let's say, an Immortal card and say, okay, this is what you got. You can do this. Yeah, you can, but there's also another problem with that. Is that if you have, let's say in that tier, you have a special edition card come out that has that particular card's card indication as the equipment. So let's say, for example, okay, a card comes out for Finn Balor, for example, just because he's mine. But the catch is, it can only be used on Finn Balor, not the demon Finn Balor. That holds a whole new avenue that you may not be ready to tackle. What I would like, what I like about that is that they're making it where they're saying they're two different entities, and in the world of a game, that's actually a very compelling thing to do. For some, they're probably like, "Oh, that's kind of silly," or "That's kind of dumb." No, it's not. Allow me to explain why. Because we've already reached the plateau of like we know what to expect. But now by putting out special editions, what I would say would be like for legend cards, but maybe start expanding out your legend category. But again, there's only so far you can go before you're going to be hitting the repetitive button. But who's your go-to when you think of legend? You would think of obviously Hulk Hogan when you think of legend, but obviously I doubt he's going to always be the first name that comes to mind. You might think of Macho Man Randy Savage. You might think of Ravishing Rick Rude. You might think of the Ultimate Warrior. You might think of even Brutus the Barber, the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, just to name a few. Like the first name that would come to mind would be Hogan if you're born in the era where he was the big guy on campus. For a lot of others, it was Bob Backlund. For another, it was superstar Billy Graham at times because, hey, he may have been a heel, but he might have been somebody's favorite at that time. Others, it was Bruno Sammartino, just because he was the big guy, the guy who was doing it all. Others, it was Bret Hart, it was Shawn Michaels. For my generation, when I grew up watching, it was Stone Cold and The Rock. Those were the icons, the legends. So whenever you hear that glass shatter, you knew it was time. You knew something was coming. So like to use those names in particular, saying, hey, these are the legends. And then there are obviously legends who were gone too soon. I'll name one in particular, was Eddie Guerrero. He left us way too soon. And now going out, you're hearing all these wonderful stories about Eddie, and you're just like, he was so down to earth. It was like crazy to think that he was so like he knew how to work the crowd like nobody's business. Like nobody in the business probably knew how well he paid attention to the crowd. And it's one of the things I think about. When I think of a legend, I think of him. And of course, can't forget about Jake the Snake Roberts. I mean, he had a few contributions to the business. Can't forget about him. Then you step over to the NWA side, and you can't forget about people like Ric Flair and Sting. And the Outsiders are more considered legendary because of their contributions there. Hall and Nash. Where DDP made his name, where Booker T made his name. There will always be the fence where you can cross over and say, yeah, he's good, but this guy over here, he's the man, he's the legend, he's the greatest. And it's always a great argument because there is never a right answer to say who is the greatest of all time. Because I don't think there's ever a wrong answer to that question. Because for one person's opinion, another person will say different. They'll say in the terms of, and they'll give you their reason as to why they don't think your opinion's right. And that's when they're giving their opinion. And that's what I love about the business now, is that we're starting to see that it's not about being right or wrong anymore. Even I've been a little bit hectic I've been a little critical on some things. And recently, even in AEW, there are some guys there that I already see as future Hall of Famers. Omega, Will Ospreay, MJF. Just to name three off the top of my head. Edge and Christian still doing it, still going strong. it's amazing. FTR, the Young Bucks. There's just so many places you can turn to, and you look over in TNA. You can go back to the good old days of TNA, and you can still see where a lot of things went well for them. AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels. What's off the top of my head? I'm trying to think of like a popular tag team, and that hits the bar with the tag teams, obviously. There's obviously WWE, the Hart Foundation, to the Hardy Boys, to like, just generation to generation, where like they crushed it. Like, you had the Hart Foundation, you had the Bulldogs, you had Demolition, you had Legion of Doom, but Legion of Doom also made their name in NWA. Those guys are over there. Over in the NWA, obviously, when it became WCW, it seems like you had Harlem Heat, you had the Nasty Boys, who made their name well known and over there more. Outsiders, the Faces of Fear. You go over to maybe like the Land of Extreme in ECW. You had guys like Public Enemy. I was trying to think of the names. You had the Eliminators. You had the Gangstas. The three that I would honestly lump off as being the tag teams of that defined that company right there. And obviously you had Roadkill and Dangerous Danny Dory, who came along later, obviously. I do feel like that if things had gone differently, we'd still be talking about the wars between the three companies. I don't think you would have had TNA had the two not gone down, but the fact that they went down almost at the exact same time is really weird to me. Like in TNA now, we talk about tag teams. I guess AJ and Tomko would be one to be considered. America's Most Wanted, Team Canada. The Naturals were known in the early days, between 2002 to 2007. I consider like I would say it was probably right around that time was peak TNA, when they knew how to hook you into the story and make it work. It's a full 6 count on the ring. Boom, boom, yes. So yeah, I do consider a lot of it where you have so many names out there you can snap up some legends from just from those lists alone. Okay, who do we have sitting here that we're attempting to pass? Anyone else at the top? Nope. So you're the only person left to pass. Give me all we got. That's all I can say. Strong finish. coming for you, EO. We're coming for you. I see a pedigree setting up into a frog splash. That's what I see here. I think Paige should always go first because she's not officially done. Flying what? Flying headbutt, maybe? Yep. Maybe a frog splash. Flies off, and then he hits the flying headbutt. That's maybe how that would go. Rampage. Sort of. Could have been. It could have been. That positioning, that could have been the perfect way of segueing into the Rampage, but instead of being a gut-wrench suplex. Ooh, here we go. I don't expect anything out of this. Mostly fodder, maybe some parallel tokens and stuff like that. But that's fine because if I do things, if I play my cards right, I'll be fine. One and one, that's fine. Turn shame that 25 is all I really got. At least not until we do something about the draft board file and we get a certain amount. I don't know of anything else I really can be getting rid of at this point. I've gotten rid of everything I can. The only like stat that would even like remotely come close to my opponent is the speed, and that's very weird. I feel like power shouldn't be her. I feel like power should not be the stat that should be the one of her higher ones. I feel like that should have been the lower one, but I guess to deliver the rampage and deliver the PTO, the page tap out, does require physical strength. You are picking somebody up and holding them before you drop them with the DDT, because that's what the rampage is. But it's an elevated DDT, which makes it far more physically demanding on the body. And then obviously the page tap out's like a reverse scorpion, I think they call it. So I guess that sort of makes sense, but at the same time, like, she's not slow by any means. I feel like. Just gotta stick to it, I guess. Get her over 1 million. About to be crossing that big threshold. Weird that I picked Chelsea Green for the finish. What does Chelsea Green have that page card doesn't? Speed. That checks out. Okay, that makes sense. Chelsea is one of the more faster cards out there. Oh. Let's be while I rehydrate. And another milestone reached. I imagine eventually what it will be is you will just see the draft picks and nothing else. Because I hardly use the gems, and especially the red ones, more or less. You know what I mean? I'm just getting so many of them that I know that eventually it ends up wiping it out. I don't know about El Hijo, but I know if I was given a chance to my Ethan page from, I want to say it's from Leviathan, that he's almost completely tapped out, but it might be another. It might be from WrestleMania 42 as well. That's very possible. Finish off another. now we're getting, now things are getting interesting. I said it could happen here, but I wasn't too certain when it might happen. It could happen near the end. And 25 was a lot, but I'm guessing that if push came to shove, where I didn't want to have to assign new stats, then the immortal card becomes active, and I would obviously say, okay, from this match onward to the end, he is in play, but I don't think that's going to be necessary, because unless by some hook or crook reason that I need it, that's at this stage I would say I'm certain I would have a few cards I could swap some statistics with as far as equipment goes, but at this point they haven't crossed 1 million yet, so I guess I'd be a little cautious on my choices. Okay, I would say nothing to worry about, providing it's speeding for a different female. On this side, or just give me double speed and we can have nothing to worry about. Once you start seeing a certain stat, you know things are not going to be super easy going forward, because you know at a certain point you're getting to that stage. So, like, because I knew Tiffany's weaknesses immediately going into it when seeing the beginning of the match, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a problem, knowing full well what we're facing, and at least at bare minimum we're facing a 949 or 949,000 for opponents, so anything higher now is going to be but I mean, we do have some 2 million cards, so for what that's worth. Like I said, sometimes I'm picking them on accident, sometimes I'm not. Just remember. Always remember, call out the match and what stack it was in, and I'll just call out which tier it was in and the match number, and I will check it out to confirm. And if I see that you're right, depending on when the videos were done, because I do sometimes do videos in succession, but in this situation, my next video would be the one where I'd be checking to see. But in this situation, yes, you would get a shout out. Oh, you'll get it. And just to clarify this, even if I'm doing something different, even if, let's say, my next video were to be not to be Supercard in any way, you would still get the shout out. So you would check the start of the video and then I would give out the shout outs, because I would have like my whiteboard would be in front of me. I'd be like, okay, giving a shout out to this person and that person who has caught me using the immortal card, this and that. Like I said, sometimes I'm doing it on accident, sometimes I'm doing it just for the heck of it. And if you do get one shout out, that's you do get the potential for another one in the future. Just it wouldn't be in a succession of like multiple videos from the beginning. You get your shout out, and then a little bit later on, I can, depending on how things are with when you catch them. So let's say you catch it, but my advice would be don't call out every single one. you know they're there, just sit back. And when I say I might make it a month-to-month thing where every month you have a shot at getting it. So then after a month, like, you know, okay, I'll say so and so caught the immortal card being used when it was not needed during this match, and now it's, and that would be your shout out. Still a shout out nonetheless, because I appreciate all of my subscribers, every one of you. So just know more than Supercard is coming. I'm just working on that. If I do like Resident Evil and that, I plan to make it just one whole video, so there's no you sticking out to watch the whole thing. You might see a little bit of fun. You might see me being a little stupid at times just for the heck of it. Other times you like to see me being serious and bulldozing it. Other times I'm the one getting bulldozed. I've only begun the fight. This might be a 6-man match, or 6 card match, so I'm kind of expecting it. The moment a tag match starts, it kind of already has I'm kind of already like on edge. Of course, in this situation, it don't count, because all 6 were required for the match. For what that's worth. We're rapidly reaching the end of countdown, and it's an interesting thought of where we're going to end up. Now that we're here, we're reaching closer and closer, and that just leaves main event, obviously, and challenger, which at some point they may start cutting away the old campaign stuff, which obviously me being so far ahead now, I won't have to worry. About losing out on that now, because now I have it. With it being just left arrows now, I'm pretty certain I'm in the clear. Still got a million points on the opponents, but still. That was a tag match, obviously, so. smell Big Damo coming for me sooner than later. That, my friends, was a joke. For those who might have actually caught on to, that was not who's coming after me. Big Damo was killing Dane. Next time I might let it hang for a bit, let it hang for an entire video and see who catches it. Okay, Trish is definitely doing her thing. Those are making me so happy. And the standing ovation for Joe Henry there, because I was like, oh, that was pretty close. Oh, let it be known here, it finally happened. Well, it's finally occurred, ladies and gentlemen. I must do it. It's so funny because I didn't think it would happen here. Okay. We'll swap that in. I knew it could happen. I didn't think it would happen there, but the stats were getting very, very close. Let's see if I can get away with it with I may not need to use it at all, quite frankly. That's not the, oh no, it was a stat. Okay, yeah, you weren't beating me that time. That's just not happening. So it's official. Now a loss is coming to play in the videos. Now they're there. Oh, so there isn't any confusion because just in case you guys may not have seen any of my live streams, I do have a certain thing I do on my Twitch streams where I do where I let you guys detonate what's called the detonation button. It's Dungeon channel points, obviously. So a lot of my stuff is all channel point related, so making a point to say that. So when they are detonated, or even if they're not detonated, the thing resets by month eventually. Something might have to be done at some point because someone's going to have to detonate at some point because there's a lot of losses in play. So what I may do is, depending on what's selected, will ultimately determine, because I do have it written down in a little notepad somewhere of how many losses I've had accumulated over the months. So no one's detonated since February. I'll say that. So yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 months worth of stuff. So could be anyone at any time. Maybe you're all saving up for a big old live stream that you're just going to do it on, or maybe not. Actually, I want to do this now. I knew coming up was the next one, and that, sorry, what? When was that on the board? Oh, I guess we got an El Grande Americano original. I didn't even know that was on the board. How about that? Was it Jeff Hardy last video, him this video? So, I don't know, I guess we're having some serious luck. All right. The long haul ahead. And Jacob Fatu can put it away for us. That's it. I said, now we're in the long. This is the big stretch now. This is the end. Getting past this gets us in the main card. Remember that. Whatever it is. Already forgotten it. Oh, we'll still do it. Still 3 million. I think we're still good. Definitely still good. Rose thing is done. I think it's Ria's. I think Ria's still got some time left in hers. Talk about the worst thing you could give me. Oh, it's definitely it. Made it a tougher opponent. There we go. I think Vikino is daughter 100%, but I could be wrong. I'll have to wait until my next the next match that I do, and I'll check his stats. He's not. Still got 10 more. Interesting. That's fine then. That makes things a little easier, I guess, for me. There we go. The battle to the top is very real. I have no doubt in my mind that this is not going to be a full 6 round. Oh, just knowing this, I'm going to use El Hijo. If I'm right, it's going to use Yokozuna for the finale. Oh, we got Jake and Yoko. That's still almost 4. That should be about 4 million. Even if it isn't, it's still way more than enough to handle these two. 4.17 was the total. I came here to finish someone, and that's exactly what we're going to do. than enough. 1.3 million apiece. And then some. 3.3, 3.4, somewhere around there. Still enough. Alright, here we go. This is the big one. If I were to guess, I would say this is going to require all 6 cards, because knowing how the game operates, it's the finale, so I'll start off with these two. I'm not even entertaining anything less. If I'm right, it's going to force me to use the Immortals card at the end. No big deal there, because quite frankly, we're getting to that point where it's gonna happen sooner than later. Or it's already no gift. I got a little nervous, I won't lie. Let's see what happens just with that. 3.3. What happened? Fear happened. Darn right. Alright, let's just collect these rewards. Let's see what Superstar was. We're doing not bad. And the sensational shivery. Pump it up and mellow. Hammond and Green Priest. You might wonder why I'm not acknowledging the equipment. It's just the equipment's not what I didn't talk about. And 5 JD McDonald's. Alright. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. So thank you to everybody who stopped by to watch. I do appreciate it. If you enjoy the content I am putting out here, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And now then you can, all right, let me make sure I got this right. Over here you can click. This is my I believe this is my most viewed video here. And then over here, depending on how it's being portrayed, by YouTube, it should be my most recent video will probably be right here. So you can check that out here. And over here is where you can, on the video screen is where you can subscribe. You may not be able to see me pointing, but I am trying to point to the correct direction of everything. Thank you again to everybody who's watched. I will see you guys in the next one. This is JOSHTHEJSYSTEM signing out. Take care, everyone. Be good to each other, and have a good night.